Hello everyone, this is Ms. Sabata and welcome back to yet another English Edurise YouTube video, right? So today we are going to be focusing on poetry analysis. So guys, as you already know, Wednesdays are language days. So if you need some help with whether it's English home language, English first additional, is it class and those subjects, come on the YouTube channel and you maybe find your answers here. So today we are going to be looking at poetry analysis. Now this is going to help not only matriculants who are going to be writing their child exams and finals very soon, but it's also going to give our grade 10 and grade 11 learners some basics on how to analyze poems. Now this is just some basics on how when you look at a poem that you've never seen before, these are things that you need to be thinking about when you start to analyze your poem. So, the first thing we're going to be looking at is when you are looking at a poem, what are you looking for? So, you need to look for the meaning of the poem. You need to identify the techniques that the poet has used. You also need to identify the effect that the poem then creates in you as the reader, and you also need to understand the context of the poem. So, a quick tip that I use when I'm analyzing a poem is we use the acronym TIE. So you look at the theme, the imagery, and the effect. Now I know some of these words may sound a bit foreign, but once I get into explaining how to analyze a poem, you are going to understand how the theme works, how imagery is looked at, and the effect that the poem can create within you as the reader. Right, so when we look at a poem, there is a specific structure that you can use in order um, to analyze that poem, right? So we're going to look at the poetry analysis structure. So I know in one of my videos when we did when we were writing the essay for paper 2, right, we spoke about petal. So in the same way that you use petal there, you are going to then use petal here when you analyze a poem. So these are things that you are going to look at. So what is the first thing you're going to look at is P for point, which is we're going to look at what is the main idea. So what is the theme of each stanza, or what is the theme of the poem as a whole. So these are the main ideas that you're looking at. So in order to get the main idea, you then need to look at the evidence. So what lines and phrases then lead you to that main idea or that theme of that stanza or the main idea of the poem, right? Then you're going to look at your technique. So these are your literary devices. So you're looking for your metaphors, your similes, your alliterations, personifications, alliterations, enjambment, and tone. And I'm going to give you a basic idea of what these things are and the effect that they create in the poem, right? Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do an analysis. So how does the technique then create meaning? So how does personification create meaning for the poem? How is the simile used in the poem in order to create meaning? So what is the poet actually trying to show us? And then you'll be able to understand what it actually feels like. Then when you link it, you always need to link back to the theme, or you need to link back to the question that is being asked. So whether you're being asked about the main idea of the main theme of the poem, or the main idea, then you need to be able to link it back to the theme, or you need to look at the techniques that are used. Then you also need to be able to link back to the theme and the question that is being asked. Right, so then now we're going to look at key poetic devices. So these are the poetic devices that you then need to look at. You need to know them so that you'll be able to identify them. So the first one we're going to be looking at is a metaphor. So a metaphor is a figure of speech that compares two things, but saying one thing is another. So for example, when we say time is a thief, right? So we're basically saying that time passes by so quickly, right? So we're not trying to say exactly that time is a thief, but we're trying to create a deeper meaning by comparing two things directly. Then we're going to look at the similes. A simile is a figure of speech that then compares two things, and it uses the words like or as to make the description very clear and vivid. So the example you can use is as brave as a lion. So this helps to make the image more vivid, and it makes it much clearer. So it's trying to create an image in your head that is going to be very clear, of what the poet is trying to describe. Then we look at personification. So personification is when we give human qualities to non-human objects. So basically, we'll give inanimate objects. We'll give them human features. So whether it be emotions or it be adjectives or verbs. So maybe we can say the wind whispered or um, the sun shined. So those examples, you're just giving human qualities to non-human objects. So then this makes nature and the emotions feel alive, right? Then we look at alliteration. Alliteration is the repeat of the same initial sound in neighboring words. So these are words that follow one another, and at the beginning of each word, they have the same sound. So, for example, the silent, sad sea. So that is an alliteration because there is the repetition of the word is that is at the beginning of each neighboring word, right? So this then helps to create a mood. So this it may be sometimes the poet will use this to create a sad mood, a somber mood, or maybe they're trying to create a happy mood. This also helps to create musicality. So when you create musicality, now it also gives that sense of, okay, maybe it's a happy poem. It's a poem of celebration or things like that. And it also creates emphasis. Then we're going to look at assonance. So assonance is the repetition of identical or similar vowel sounds within nearby words. So almost the same as alliteration, except here we are now talking about vowels. So your vowels are your A, E, I, O, U. So for example, we say fleet, feet, sweep, right? So now we have that double E, which are your vowels in each neighboring word, right? So now this helps to create soft or harsh sound. So depending on the mood that the poet has decided upon, they can use assonance to create a soft or to create a harsh sound effect. Then we look at an onomatopoeia. So this is when a word that copies or suggests the natural sound of the thing it describes. So if maybe you're trying to create sound within the poem, then you will use onomatopoeia. So if you may be trying to describe a bee, then you use the word buzz. The bee buzzes around whatever. Or maybe you're trying to explain an accident, or you're trying to um, something fell, then you'll say a crash. So these are words that suggest the natural sound of the thing that is being described. So if something falls, it will crash, or maybe something explodes, then it goes boom. So you're creating natural sound by using words. This makes the poem feel real and immersive. So now because the writer is using onomatopoeia, then we are able to feel um, exactly what it is that the writer was going through when they wrote those specific words. Then we'll look at imagery. So imagery is the use of descriptive language in literature and art to engage the human senses. So this is where now we look at the five senses. So you have your sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So this helps the reader to visualize and feel. So if the poet then uses imagery, so they're using descriptive language, they are able to invoke emotions within us where we are able to visualize and feel exactly what it is that the poet was feeling. Then we move on to enjambment. So this is a poetic term for when a sentence or a phrase continues past the end of a line without any punctuation. So now this is when a poet has written as a full sentence, right? But at the end of that sentence, there's no punctuation, so there's no comma, there's no exclamation marks or a full stop to end the sentence, but then they continue to the next line, right? In order to continue what it is that they were trying to say. So this helps the writer to create a sense of urgency. So they're trying to rush through whatever it is that they're trying to say, and also they're trying to create some speed and or flow. So they're trying to make sure that the poem is flowing accordingly. Then we'll have a repetition or anaphora. So this is when a specific or targeted type of repetition, right? So while repetition is the broad use of repeating words or phrases anywhere in a text, anaphora strictly refers to repeating the same word or phrase at the beginning of successive sentences or clauses. So this is just basically repeating the repetition of same words or different words, depending on the context of the poem, right? So this then helps to create emphasis, rhythm, and urgency. Then we'll look at diction. Diction now refers to the word choice. So it refers to an author's deliberate choice of words in order to express their ideas. So when a poet then uses formal diction, then we will sense that, okay, this is now a serious poem. So the mood is then serious, the tone is serious, everything about it will be serious. But if they start using slang, then we can assume that, okay, everything is just casual. And then another example is when it's archaic, then they're trying to create a sense of timelessness. So then we'll have tone. Tone refers to a sound's quality, or the author's attitude in the writing. So this is now the speaker's attitude. So what does the speaker feel? How do they feel? Are they bitter? Are they ironic? Are they hopeful? Are they resigned? So this can also relate to mood, right? So the speaker's attitude will then be able to evoke a mood within you. So if the speaker is bitter, then you can also get a sense of bitterness or a sense of sadness. If they are ironic, then you can also get a sense of that from the attitude that they are using. Then we'll look at symbolism. So symbolism is the art or practice of using an object, a person, a situation, or a word to mean something deeper than its surface level. So we're now looking at the literal meaning of something, right? So this then helps to add deeper layers of meaning. So when a poet uses symbolism, they want to create a deeper meaning of something. So they don't want you to just look at an object or a person on the surface level. They want you to look at it from a deeper level so that um, you can get their attitude or the mood they're trying to invoke, or yeah. So that is symbolism. So now, it is always now important to link your poem to its context. Not just it's not just to gain it's not just to gain some knowledge, but it's also going to help you with some extra marks. So the most common themes that we'll find when it comes to poems is that most poems are historical, so they are based on historical events. So whether it is apartheid, world wars, or anything like that. Poems can also be biographical. So this means that they are now talking about the poet's experiences. Maybe the poet has gone through something traumatic and they wanted to share it through their poem. So this is what we are looking at here. And we're also looking at there are literary poems. So is it part of a movement? Are we talking about protest poetry, or are we talking about romanticism? So things like that. So when you look at a poem, you also need to be able to understand its context, not just for the fun of it, but for the sake of knowing. And it's going to also help you gain marks, especially for someone who is going to do maybe the essay when they are looking their poem for matrics. So that is it for today's lesson. So that's it for today's lesson. If you guys have any questions, you know what to do. And just another reminder that, as usual, Wednesdays are language days. So this is where you'll find any content that you need for languages. So for English and Xhosa, you'll be able to catch some content here at the edge on the Edurise YouTube channel every single Wednesdays, sorry. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, you know what to do, drop them down below in the comment section, and we will try to respond to you guys as soon as possible.